WWF's commitment in the Mesoamerican Reef spans more than 10 years of sustained and focused efforts to ensure the ecoregion's integrity. Terrestrial and marine, local and regional, political and economic, conservation and development are all fundamental elements of WWF's Ridge to Reef approach. Working for the ecological integrity of pristine marine ecosystems begins at the ridge of key watersheds that drain into the reef. Partnering with upper, middle, and lower watershed users ensures that less effluents reach the coastal waters. Large-scale agriculture and subsistence farmers are our partners in the vision of better agriculture with less chemicals and a responsible use of both water and soils.
When we first started working in the Mesoamerican Reef on agriculture was that we knew we couldn't focus on everything. So we had to be very select. We had to pick 2 or 3 things that were the most significant. And we chose soil erosion and chemicals.
Los logros de la estrategia de agricultura entre el Arrecife Mesoamericano lo resumo en 2. Uno es la relación, establecer relación con líderes de la agroindustria. Y segundo es la reducción de pesticidas por medio de la implementación de mejores prácticas agrícolas.
Our Agriculture and the Environment program has achieved a considerable reduction of effluents into the reef. Today, 18 alliances and more than 345,000 acres of agriculture are actively reducing pesticides and fertilizers, increasing water and soil conservation, and overall committing to a responsible and sustainable agriculture. In 2009, 50 tons less of pesticide and chemical fertilizers were applied, ensuring the coastal waters of the reef have less nutrients and contaminants. Likewise, erosion control in citrus and oil palm significantly reduced the amount of soil lost and therefore the sediments clouding the crystal clear turquoise waters of the reef. Shrimp farming in the Mesoamerican Reef is among the most responsible worldwide, having adopted important, better management practices to reduce high nutrient effluents into coastal areas. Nutrient-rich effluents have diminished by 40% in the 4 years of project life. Large industries partner with us to ensure that water is available now and in the long term. Saving now and protecting watersheds that provide the irreplaceable necessary liquid is key. In alliance with upper watershed farmers, the Water Fund and other equitable payment for environmental services mechanisms have been established and are leading the way in this innovative approach to sustainable resource use and conservation. Food security has been an added value of the mechanism, strengthening livelihoods of the poorest communities in the upper watersheds. Not only industry and communities, but governments are our partners. Together, we have worked on legislation for protected areas, pushed for larger conservation national budgets, and agreed to work side by side in promoting ecosystem services and climate change adaptation. This year, the 7 countries of the Central American Isthmus jointly passed a ban on lobster fishing, an accomplishment reached after many years of working side by side for the sustainability of such valuable resource. We have promoted sustainable tourism alternatives, trained fishermen on ecosystem-based fisheries management, and promoted human adaptation to climate change. In the more than 10 years of sustained commitment to the conservation of the Mesoamerican Reef, we have not worked alone. Local and international partners and committed and trusting donors have enabled our efforts, accomplishments, and lessons learned.
Central America has been a real learning place for us. We have been able to implement things faster, quicker. It's a smaller number of players. They're more connected already. Costa Rica's got a good hub on this, but there are people in Belize and in Honduras and even in parts of Guatemala which may be the most difficult of them to work in, but they get it and they want to do the right thing. They just don't always know what it is. So we found it to be a really good place to incubate new ideas.
In the early years, Summit Foundation's leadership grant allowed WWF to jumpstart and consolidate the program, unleash creativity, and facilitate innovation. As the program grew, it also helped retain talented staff and as a matching contribution towards new funding opportunities.
Much has been achieved. Lobster populations now have a chance. Agribusinesses are committed to improved and greener production. Industries and municipalities value water. Subsistence farmers are learning about competitive business opportunities. Governments have information and tools for better policy. Coastal communities value mangrove and are prepared to face climate change.
They know about ecosystem-based fishing and sustainable tourism. But much remains. The long-term and sustained conservation of the ecoregion requires that many of the pilot experiences that WWF has started and accompanies are embraced and recognized by everyone as the way things are done. It is a process that is dynamic, with great strides and accomplishments reached every day, but it is a road that still requires our sustained efforts and commitment.
WWF is proud of the accomplishments in the Mesoamerican Reef. Many of them are examples of solid and effective efforts both within the region and abroad, and we are committed to ensuring that in the long term they guarantee the ecoregion's integrity. We are also sure our long-term partners will accompany us in this path.
Frankly, none of this would have happened if we hadn't had a donor that was willing to commit money, not just in year 1 or 2 or 3, but all the way through a 10-year project. Because that, in fact, is what allowed us to get into the fields, to work with farmers, to gain their trust, to work with big companies and gain their trust. And we've done that. And not only has it affected our work there and our relationships with them in other parts of the world, it's affected our relationships with every company we work with, because that has fundamentally defined how we work with companies. So WWF has a market transformation program now. It's built on the foundations that were created in the Mesoamerican Reef. So that, I think, is the tribute to the Summit Foundation, the entire approach that we're taking about private sector engagement.